Hi guys, I'm Miss Collins. I'm one of the instructors for the Introduction to Exercise Science courses. Now, we are in a huge transition, obviously, with the COVID-19 epidemic, where we have a big shift of our hybrid model where we would see you face to face at least one time a week, and then the other parts of your work would be online. Well, now we're all virtual. We have a few assignments that we have taken from that face-to-face format and we've thrown them online. So we're trying to build them as we're teaching over the summer to prepare them for this online format. One of those assignments is your video assignment. So to clarify what we're trying to do, what the goal is here, traditionally you would write a long APA formatted paper if you were analyzing an article. And there's a really good template on how to do that. We've given you access to that template in your Dropbox tool. In a second, I'm going to share my screen with you and we're going to go through that assignment, all of those different resources, specifically that APA template for analyzing an article. When you do analyze an article, there's all of these different pieces if you were writing that traditional paper. So you would have your title page, which is the same for any APA document that you would be typing. Then you have your introduction where you're pretty much summarizing the introduction. And then you would get into the next section, next section, next section. Instead of typing all of that, you're going to talk to me via video, just like I'm talking to you right now. That's a skill that we need to develop, especially in these circumstances. Right now, as a fitness professional, so that's my area of expertise. I'm not a physical therapist or anything like that. I'm an exercise scientist and I'm a fitness professional. That's why I'm dressed like this. I just taught my morning virtual session through Zoom. I taught a Tabata bar class. Being able to effectively communicate in multiple ways is vital, not just for the discipline of exercise science, but for anything that you want to do. And we're trying to hone in on those skills. Lighting, your sound, getting to the point quickly, which is something that I'm a hot mess with. But all of those things, you've got to practice that. So the whole idea is to take the APA formatting, the APA template, to make sure that you are addressing all of the issues step by step that you would when you would analyze an article. And instead of typing that, delivering it through a video. We also really want you to focus on communicating in layman's terms because you are oftentimes going to be trying to communicate how to move, how to exercise, some type of exercise prescription virtually to a client. Think about medicine right now. Telemedicine is huge. If you have had to go to the doctor recently, I would put money on most of you actually having a meeting like this with your physician, an online meeting, a little session where you log in safely to your health portal and you're talking to your physician like this from a distance. I'm training my personal training clients. Right now it's virtual. If I'm teaching group fitness, I'm only teaching one face-to-face class a week and we have to maintain social distancing. So instead of 30 people in my class, I have at a max 10. And there's a whole bunch of different measures there. And there's also a fear. I had people who won't come to my face-to-face classes. So instead I'm offering them 5:30 a.m. every morning. That's why I look like this. But I'm teaching them virtually. So you have to be an effective communicator in many ways, whether we're typing in APA formatting or we're speaking like this through a video, or if you're doing live oral communication, there's a lot of ways that you need to be able to deliver content. You need to be able to do it effectively and with all of those little details, the sound, the lighting, the timing, all of that stuff. It takes practice, but that's where things are going. Virtual fitness, virtual exercise, physical therapist delivering instead of the little packet where you get your exercises from your physical therapist. They're probably going to start sending you videos. That's where we're going with a lot of this. So we're trying to really develop those skills and tap into that. So that's where we're going with this assignment. All right, let's look at the actual assignment. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so what you should be looking at right now is the research and writing video assignment. Okay, I've already made some adjustments to the instructions. That's live. So if you click on it now, that's what you should see. Okay, so yes, being able to write an APA format is very important. And depending on your discipline, I mean, you might see MLA or APA. For our discipline, APA is very standard. You need to get used to reading articles like that. All types of information that you see, they're probably going to be in that format. But you also need to be able to communicate via video. All right, so here is the article that we're going to be analyzing on high intensity interval training. I just taught a high intensity interval training class, so this is so relevant, so relevant. It's extremely efficient. There's a lot of ways to do it where you don't need a lot of equipment. And think, if I'm teaching exercise out of my home, I don't have a gym at home. So that's a really good way to get a really good calorie burn, but there are issues with it. So what this article is looking at is, can we use HIIT training, high intensity interval training, in the real world? So as you're reading, you need to read through this and play the devil's advocate, like just pick it apart, be very, not judgmental, but you need to really look at the details, pick it apart, really try to understand what they were doing, find flaws in the design, suggestions for where you would like to take it further, things like that. Okay, so that's the first step. Read the article. Then you need to read it again. Then I would read it again. First, just read it, make a few of your own notes, but then I would click here on the Analyze the Article document there that we gave you. There we go. Woo! See, I'm learning how to do this with you. Okay, so we have our Analyze the Article answer guide. Okay, so this is going to prompt you if you've never analyzed an article before and you're kind of lost, you don't really know where to start. Okay, read through and translate any terms so that they make sense. Okay, so you might read through and there might be things that you don't understand. Look them up. When you get to grad school, and most of you want to go to grad school, there's not this little glossary or thesaurus right there for you so you can know everything that you read. You're going to have to be hungry and go find some of that information if you're confused about it. Write a general idea of the hypothesis. So what is their question? What's their research question? What are the dependent and independent variables? The dependent variable is dependent on the independent variable. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give you this answer. That's your reward for watching this video. So if I'm going to give two groups of people different workouts. So here we're going to do a steady state workout, regular intensity, nothing too crazy. Over here, I'm going to give them the HIIT training, the high intensity interval training. Okay. So those are the independent variables. Group A, I'm giving you this dose of whatever it is. Group B, I'm giving you this dose of whatever it is. Now, after we do that, what things are we interested? What variables are we interested in looking at? Did they lose weight? Did their resting heart rate get better? Did their blood pressure get better? Did they have strength gains and so forth? Okay, all of those variables, they depend, or we hope they would depend on which type of exercise we're giving them. We're trying to see if this different type of exercise made a difference. So our independent variables are whether they did regular exercise or HIIT, and then our dependent variables, they depend on which group they're in. So let's say the HIIT people lost more weight than the regular people. Maybe there wasn't a difference. I don't know, but that's the difference between an independent variable. So that's what you are manipulating. And then the dependent variable depends on which group you're looking at. Okay. So go through, that's what you should be looking for. What does previously published research say about this topic? And then hint, hint, look into the intro. That's the whole purpose of an introduction in an article, where they have gone through all of the research before. They're telling you this is what we already know. And then that's bringing them to the main purpose of their article. We're trying to contribute more to this body of knowledge, or we're trying to take what we know a little step further, or we're trying to further validate what we already know. They're going to tell you a purpose statement, like what is the purpose of the research, and just keep going all the way down. This is just a guide for what you should be looking at as you're analyzing the article. Okay. Okay, so let's scroll on down. Now we have our APA template. I gotta share it too. Yes, I'm going to bring it to the front. Okay, here we go. Finally. So your APA template, this is showing you what you need to make sure you've included as you're doing your video. So for a first example, normally you would have a title page, right, if you were typing it out. So what all is necessary on your title page? The full title of the paper, the author's name, and affiliation. This can be a little bit confusing because we're analyzing an article. Some students think, oh, well, the title of my paper is supposed to be the title of the article itself. No, this is your own interpretation of the article. So you would say, hi, I'm Rebecca Collins. So there's the author's name. Okay, I'm Rebecca Collins, and I'm going to be analyzing the article titled blah, 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 HIT training. I don't remember the name of the article. And this is for Miss Collins' Intro to Exercise Science course and the summer term B semester of 2020. Okay, that was a really rough version of it, but you're essentially taking what you would be typing and you're just saying it. That's all it is. So this sounds really crazy and confusing, but it's really not. Okay, the next section right here, the paper starts here with the topic sentence for the introduction paragraph. This section should provide rationale for why the study was conducted, and the rationale should be based off previously published research. So essentially, you're taking the introduction section of your article and you're explaining that. Okay, so a topic sentence. This article was addressed HITs, use in the real world, blah, 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 like the main purpose statement. Previous research shows that HIT works great in controlled settings. However, it is unknown if it is going to be effective in the real world without supervision. The main purpose of this study, I want to hear that. The main purpose of this study was to blah, 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 blah. Then you get into the methods. Now, there's a lot of methods in this article, okay? So I would tease through, make sure you understand what they did, but think you're speaking in layman's terms. They are not going to care about the model number used for whatever blood draw that they did. Like that is way in the weeds for laymen, okay? So you could say they did a full blood panel to look at cholesterol and blah, 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 blah. You need to kind of give a brief explanation of those methods. Okay, now if I was going to write my own research article, it should be so good that if you wanted to replicate my exact study, you could. So my method section, if I was the primary author, like writing this research, it would be insanely detailed. Every model number, everything, so that you could replicate it as close as possible to what I did. Okay, that's how we do valid research. That's not what the purpose of this assignment is. So just little snippet, okay? Results, I mean, it takes you through all of the different sections. So you can still see See at the very bottom, references. This section should include all references cited through the paper in alphabetical order and using the appropriate hanging indentation. Okay, well, the only thing that you should be using for your analysis of this article is the article itself. So you would literally use the rules for citations for this article, the hit article itself. You type it out with that hanging indentation on a sheet of paper and you film that. This is the citation for this article. Thanks so much for listening, blah, blah, blah. Mic drop, and you're done. Okay? I hope that helps. Please feel free to contact me if you are still having concerns about this. I know this is an odd assignment, and I'm going to work on building a better video. See, like this was my dry run this morning. I just wanted to get it to you as quick as possible. But I'm going to make a prettier video. I'm probably going to edit some stuff here. That's a process. That's something that you need to look at too when you're making your video. You might want to go through a few dry runs. You might want to script. All those things you need to work on when you're building something like this that you're going to send to someone. Okay? If you think about it like you're having a conversation and not like it's supposed to be some rehearsed, beautiful, perfect display on a video, it'll come off a lot more naturally and it's not as stressful. Just talk to me. Pretend like you're talking to your grandmother. Pretend like your grandmother asked a question about this article and you're trying to explain it to her. That's how to approach it. That's how you reach people, and that's how you make things interesting and fun. All right? Let me know if you have questions.